Hello there, welcome back to another show. Today I'm going to talk about Fallen Leaves, which is a new film by Aki Kaurismäki, who in the past has said he's retired. You know, I even got the big box set with all the films up to his retirement. And of course, then he comes back because of that film. But since it's an excellent film, I'm fine. But all this, I'm retired thing, come on, just, if you're going to retire. If you're not, don't announce it then come back. It messes up the collectors. We're sensitive. Right, so Fallen Leaves is a typically deadpan Kaurismäki film. Now, deadpan doesn't mean there's no emotion. Deadpan means emotion, there's humour, but the emotion can go below the surface and can be read and is an expression of a culture, and the emotions are still there, but they're kind of dampened down by the culture and by the expectations of life within that culture. So, unlike American films where everyone's saying what they think and there's no such thing as subtext, you know, where it's embarrassingly whiny most of the time. This is like in Finland, where according to this film, the economy's in terrible shape. Everyone's depressed. Most of them are alcoholics. It's a fun place to be. Now, Kaurismäki, even since the 80s, has had a deadpan look at life, and he definitely is making films with a certain stylization. I'm sure not every Finnish person is, depressed and has mental health issues, but the only Finnish person I know is a Bulgarian troglodyte, and it's kind of a grey area for him. It's like, I can't say he's full of beans all the time, but I'm assuming there are some Finnish people who are full of life. So this is a stylization, just the same way like Jim Jarmusch films cannot be read as all of America, can be read as a subset in America. So within this, what you have here is a very simple story of two working class people and their problems as they fall in love. Now, the problems are various, including shyness, alcoholism, economic depression, a basic unwillingness to talk within the Finnish landscape. There's all sorts of things. And generally people are kind of trapped in their own heads most of the time. And within this film, you get subtle, slow, within like a deadpan talk and within some of the humour, and within like the keeping close to your emotions, people do start to make friendships. I mean, both our leading lady and our leading man both have friends. The leading lady, she's lives in an apartment by herself. Well, she ends up with a dog, but she's a friend from work, and even after she's fired, she's still friends with this woman from work. And she's working in a supermarket where they have to steal out of baked goods to eat because they're paid so little. And she gets fired because she ends up stealing some of these things, and she gets caught. And it's like, well, pay the people more so they can eat properly. It's that kind of economy, and when she is caught, everyone else is like, we all do this because of the circumstances. So you see her struggling to find something. Meanwhile, our leading man, and I see this ironically because neither of them act like leading men or leading ladies. He's an alcoholic working a job, and the only way to get through this depressing job is to drink on the job. Of course, he's going to get caught, and he's a person who's basically, he needs to find a reason not to drink. It's just like life's depressing. It's the only thing that gives him solace is drinking. Even if he doesn't seem to have much enjoyment, it gets him out of his own depressed head for a bit, and there's a sense of he needs something else. And this is basically set as a world where there's lots of people like him who have done the same thing and who have that same problem. It's not an unusual as you find out later, it's not an unusual thing for this world, and there's not much tolerance for it. It's like, fine, you're going to do that, we're just going to fire you. We're not going to care. We're not going to indulge this because it's dangerous. So it's a world that people have struggled to survive in. And there's not much of a safety net for people. People end up getting left behind and basically being alone and being homeless, and they all have their issues, and it's like, it's how do people fall through the cracks in this world, and how there's really not much there, apart from the human communication you get between certain people. And the film takes place over a time where these two meet and start to quietly bond over time. But it's a bond of people who have been damaged by life, and who are going to take everything very slowly. And who have their own demons. So the guy is an alcoholic, and the woman obviously has trust issues within the film, and she's just trying to get a base to live within. So she has a couple of different jobs that don't work out. One job where the guy gets in this bar where this guy gets arrested on payday, so she doesn't get paid for the week of work she did. And there's things like that happen to her, but she keeps moving. But within that time, she comes on into our leading man character, and he's she's struggling and keeping her head down, moving forward. He seems to be able to get the opportunities, but he keeps on getting messed around because he's drunk. But he's nice to her, and there is a bond between them. But as the film goes on, it starts off, fate seems to be the problem, but it ends up really being him. He's the problem. Like, he loses her phone number until they run into each other again. Then when they have a date, he's drinking too much, and she tells him, like, I'm not going to deal with this stuff. I've dealt with this with my father and my brother. No. And slowly, the fact that he has bonded with her actually makes him want to get better. And this is a full-on Douglas Sirk melodrama thing where all these some outrageous things happen within it, like and it is this thing of, within this working class environment, the kind of melodramatics of love play out within a deadpan environment. But they just play up the idea that these people are human, and weird things happen in life, and it takes place over a certain amount of time. As you see her manage to get on her feet, and we see him going further down the path until he realises he doesn't want to do this. He wants to be with her rather than drinking himself to death. And it's this thing of, it's a story about what are the options for people who are aging and their way out of being of use to society, and who have very little, in society's terms, have very little to offer society or their own society. They're not like go-getters, they're people just trying to survive. But that's what's wonderful about it. It is about the human bonds, even within a culture where emotions repressed. Emotion comes through humour, but it takes a while to get through. I mean, I live in Scotland. There's a lot of this in Scotland. So much of affection in Scotland is, how much can you take the mickey out of the other person? You know, it's just the way it is. It's just a lot of affection comes through that, and this film understands that perfectly. And just the slow bonds it build, rather than being big declarations, you're my best friend, it's much more quiet and slow. And the actual melodramatic plot devices are there. You're meant to understand what they are, but they actually do work really well, because it is the absurdity of life and the craziness of life, but also it's another problem for them to get through. So this is a wonderful film. This is just beautiful. I highly recommend it. I'm trying not to give away everything. I'm just trying to give you an idea of the basics without, blowing. It's a very short film. It's like an hour 20 or something. It's brilliantly acted. All the performances are spot on. Everyone knows what they're doing. And the good thing is, you have lots of actors who allow themselves not to look great. They look like a working class people who have had a rough time of it. Not dolled up. They all look like very little makeup, all that stuff. So it really works. The whole thing works, and it's funny as hell in a very quiet way, but also it just illustrates the culture that he's trying to show, while giving a good base for the romance. So the romance is, you're rooting for these characters because you like them and you can see the circumstances. So that this is a good way to do romance, is actually give them like actual challenges rather than just the kind of normal lame rom-com stuff where the challenges are given are not really challenges, they're just like minor things that common sense would like get over quickly. And this one actually has challenges. So this is a wonderful film. I highly recommend it. Go watch it. And that's me for now. I'm trying not to explain everything about the film. Just go see it. Okay, that's me for now. I'll be back soon with another video.